Good evening, my non-existent viewers. This is going to be my last video that I'm gonna make for a while now. After tonight, I'm gonna take a hiatus from making YouTube videos, and I will explain why I'm taking a break and apologize at the end of this video. And I figured tonight might be the last video I make for a while now. It's Discount Tuesday. I had a little double feature today at the movie theater because discount tickets. I saw 65 today, and right before I saw Scream 6, and I saw Shazam: Fear of the Gods the other night. I was out of town for a week and a half, and I was just behind on movies, so I figured I might as well see two movies in one day and see Shazam and make a triple review. My first triple review, reviewing three movies in the same video. I've made my fair share of double reviews where I review two movies in the same video, and a handful and videos where I've given mini reviews for 4 or 5 or how many other movies I've seen, but never ever just done a triple review. So I thought I could review Shazam: Fear of the Gods, 65, and Scream 6 all in one video, starting with Shazam: Fear of the Gods. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I loved the first Shazam back in 2019. It was one of my favorite movies in the DCEU, and it had such a charming lead with Zachary Levi as Shazam, as well as all of his his foster siblings that all get superpowers and they kick butt. And it's action packed, and it's comedic, and it's very heartwarming. And I was expecting the same things with Shazam: Fear of the Gods, and unfortunately we didn't really get that. Once again, Zachary Levi and Asher Angel and Jack Dylan Grazer were fantastic in this film. I thought they were kind of the heart and center of because there are more emotional scenes. That was effective in the time. And Rachel Zegler, she plays a new character in this film, and she's kind of a love interest, and I'm happy for Rachel Zegler. I mean, wasn't the biggest fan of her character, but I'm happy for the actress that she's finding work after a West Side Story. And yeah, there's a lot of cool concept, Lucy Liu and this other evil goddess are playing the villains, and they're wreaking havoc. They gain the wizard staff from the museum, and they're just and they are unleashing monsters and chaos onto the world. And of course, it's up to Zachary Levi and the family to save the world. But there's just again, this movie just has a really bad case of sequelitis, because everything that did work in Shazam: Fear of Gods just worked a lot better than the first Shazam. There is some really clunky dialogue in this movie, and it's when I was watching it, there's some scenes where the writing was just stiff, and I feel the actors, it wasn't I want to say you can't really blame it on bad acting, because these are really talented actors, and once again they're giving it what they can, but the script they were given was just so subpar, for lack of a better word, that some lines just came out really just clunky and forced. And there's also the CGI was way more noticeable in this movie than it was in the first one. There's a lot of visual effects, obviously there's monsters, there's buildings being destroyed, and there's action going down, but it's it all just looks really, really fake. Especially the dragon that you saw in the trailer, especially the scene where where there's Lucy Liu's character is riding this dragon. It's that dragon it's so obviously CGI, and there's no excuse for bad CGI nowadays. I feel special effects kind of peaked a few years ago, and now it's kind of going downhill because theaters are I guess studios are less concerned about making the film, they go in the extra step to making the film look nice. It's okay, just make it as passable as possible, you can just make money or something like that. Now, like I said, this film definitely had some cool moments. There were good action scenes, there were some funny scenes, and again, solid performances despite the flawed script they were given. But all in all, I expected better from Shazam: Fear of the Gods. I feel DC was redeeming themselves, and the DCU's not really a thing anymore. They're going with the DCU now, so this film makes me a little concerned. I'm feeling the MCU fatigue. My love for the MCU is kind of faded. And if you saw my double review for Ant-Man, Quantumania and Cocaine Bear, you probably know that. And now it's my faith in DC is kind of fitting too, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because I gotta give Shazam: Fury of the Gods a 4 out of 9 stars. It's a meh film. Alright, so now let's talk about 65, the latest dinosaur film starring Adam Driver. Adam Driver, he plays this space explorer, and he's escorting this ship full of people in cryosleep across the galaxy, and then it crash lands on prehistoric Earth 65 million years ago. Now he and this one little girl survivor have to make it and survive in prehistoric Earth right when the dinosaurs are going extinct. I was really looking forward to going to this movie because I've been I've been a humongous like dinosaur enthusiast ever since I was a little kid. Like Jurassic Park is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And yeah, and Adam Driver, I love him as Kylo Ren in the Star Wars sequels. So I was really excited, for 65. And I gotta say, like Shazam Fear the Gods, I walked away feeling rather disappointed. Like, Adam Driver, like, he and his little girl, they definitely have some, like, chemistry with the two of them. There's some cute, wholesome moments, because, like, but there's still not enough, like, development for me to really feel, like, attached, or feel like, hey, I'm totally rooting for them to succeed. Like, yeah, Adam Driver, he plays a dad, and he misses his daughter back on his home planet, and this little girl reminds him of his daughter, so that's kind of like the foundation of the relationship. They speak different languages, so they have to, like, find ways to translate amongst each other, and things like that. And this film definitely has, like, intense, like, more like gripping moments for sure, and there's still like claustrophobic moments, because it's not just dinosaurs you gotta deal with in this world, it's also just the terrain, the weather, the caves, the trees, all that stuff, of course. But then again, like, they don't spend enough time actually fleshing out their like backstories for me to really like feel connected, because the best stories, yeah, dinosaurs are great and all, but the best movies, the best novels, TV shows, or stories, they're always character driven, not so much premise driven. I just didn't get invested enough in either of them. And the dinosaurs, they have to deal with, like, you guys saw in the trailer, like, different, like, carnivorous dinosaurs are going after them. And there's a lot of, I don't want to say fictional species of dinosaurs in 65. I'm going to call them hypothetical species, because it's important to remember that, like, fossils, like, bones of dinosaurs and ice age animals and other, like, extinct animals that existed long before humans did, like, it's by pure chance that the animal died right next to a river. Like, when a dinosaur dies right next to a river, the sedimentary rock is what preserves its bones. That's how, like, paleontologists can discover it, like, millions and millions of years later. Yeah, it's by pure chance that the animal died right in that spot. With that being said, there's probably gonna be, like, a lot of species that we'll never discover. For all we know, maybe they were, like, quadrupedal, like, raptor, like, theropods living alongside Tyrannosaurus rex at the end of the Cretaceous period. But that being said, though, there's way too many hypothetical species of dinosaurs in these movies, and not enough real ones. Like, yeah, there's T-Rex, yeah, there's pterodactyls, but it's like, where's my boy Triceratops? Where's Ankylosaurus? Where are the hadrosaurs? Where are the sauropods? Like, where are the dinosaurs that we all actually recognize? Like, again, if you want to have, like, again, not fictional, hypothetical species of dinosaurs, that's great, do it. But at least balance them out with dinosaurs that we actually know. Like, that was just one of the things that really pulled me out from the movie, because there's just, like, some dinosaurs where it's like, okay, this looks like a Stegosaurus, even though Stegosaurus went extinct, like, like 80 million years before T-Rex even came onto the scene. Like, fun fact about T-Rex, like, our timeline, we live, like, T-Rex lives closer to us, like, in the 21st century, like 65 million years, than it does a Stegosaurus in late Jurassic period. Okay, but that's a tangent, that's off topic. I'm all for, like, movies subverting my expectations, but this film subverted my expectations in a way where I just walked away feeling kind of bored and disappointed. Like, I gotta give 65 a 3 out of 9 stars. I wouldn't say it's a forgettable film like other 3 out of 9 movies, I would say. It's a disappointing film. And I just want to say something, like, Mike Shinoda of Linkin Park wrote one of the songs for this film called In My Head. And that song is a complete banger. And so is Lost, that one Linkin Park song that they released like a month ago in honor of Meteoria's, their album Meteoria's 20th anniversary. That was like in their archival vaults for like 20 years, and they just put it out for the public, for the album's anniversary. All this is making me like a lot more optimistic that Linkin Park is gonna have a comeback like sooner than later. And it's just yesterday, March 20th, is what would have been Chester Bennington's 47th birthday, and I can't believe this July marks 6 years. Chester Bennington, may he rest in peace. But anyway, let's talk about Scream 6. The 6th installment in the Scream franchise once again stars Melissa Barrera and Jen Ortega playing the sisters from the last film, and, most of the cast returning, especially like the original cast in the older Scream films directed by Wes Craven, and they're in New York, they're going to college in New York City now, and Ghostface is following them, and there's a whole bunch of thrills and kills in the Big Apple. And like, Shazam Fear the Gods, this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And unlike the last two movies I just talked about, I was not disappointed by Scream 6. I had a really good time with this film. Once again, the heart and soul of Scream 6, just like, Scream 5 last year, is the sisterly, dynamic between Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. I love Jenna Ortega. She's, one of my new favorite actresses, and she's just been on a roll, within the past year with these Scream movies, as well as X and, Wednesday on Netflix. Just, yes. I'm just so happy for her, and Melissa Barrera too, and pretty much everybody in this movie. The whole Scream franchise, it's not scariness. This is a horror slasher movie, but it's not meant to be scary. It's meant to be, suspenseful and intriguing, and poke fun at lots of, horror movie tropes, hey, this is the sequel to the requel that we made last year, and these are the new rules, and, anyone can die at any moment. I just love how these Scream movies just keep rolling with that theme, and once again, provides a lot of the gripping ones. Like I said, it's not scary, but it gets intense. This is honestly, might be the most menacing. Ghostface is even more menacing this time than he is in the last movie. You guys saw in the trailer a scene where they're in, the convenience store, and Ghostface barges in, stabs some dudes, then he disarms the store owner with his shotgun, and blams the guy with his own shotgun, just oof, that was so killer. I had to get up in the middle of this movie to refill my popcorn, and I walked back and I saw one of the ladies in the crowd with me. I passed her and I was like, did I miss any stabbings? She's like, no. And I'm like, yes. And there's it's very creative, and it's also again, it keeps you intrigued with the characters. It keeps you invested with, Ghostface, and how, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega have to deal with this and, overcome these mysteries. And in the last film, there's plenty of twists and turns. Though the one thing I will say, actually two things, this thing isn't really, it's not, a nitpick or a problem in the movie. It's just something that doesn't really make sense to me. This film takes place around Halloween, and yet the studio chose to release it in March instead of October. Again, not a problem movie. I'm not complaining because we get to see it. Excuse me. We don't have to wait, 7 months to see the movie. I just think it would be this is with the whole Scream premise being the movie itself takes place around Halloween. So why not just release this movie in October where it makes the most sense? I don't know. That's just me. And that there's at the start of the movie they emphasize hey, this is the sequel to the requel where legacy characters are everyone's disposable and anyone can die at any moment. Yet there's scenes where people get stabbed, but they just walk it off like it's nothing. So there is a sense that hey, there is plot armor here that some characters are not able to die. There are some moments where I was oh, that just happened, but then 5 minutes later I was wait a minute, didn't that person just get stabbed and they're still okay? Don't need to go to the hospital? Okay. But yeah, there are still plenty of very creative twists and turns, and apparently Scream 7 is already in development, and they're already getting to work on it, and I'm just yeah, I mean, keep the Scream movies coming. I still have not watched the first 4 Scream films directed by Wes Craven. May he rest in peace. And I really should do so. I said the same thing last year. I really have no excuse for that. But anyway, Scream 6 earns a solid 7 out of 9 stars. It's a really likable film. Okay. This part of the video is... trust me, it's not going to be easy for me to film this. But like I said at the start of this video, I'm going to take a break from making YouTube videos for a while. And it's the reason as to why, and if you guys watched the last 3 videos uploaded where I was filming, sea otters and seals and sea lions in the Oregon Coast Aquarium, you probably noticed. I was in Oregon for, a week-ish, this past week. And the reason as to why I went all the way out there was for my next internship. My last internship in Nebraska ended at the end of January. I was there for 12 weeks. And I packed my car to the gills. I drove all the way out there expecting my next, I went through Utah, Nevada, and of course I got to Oregon, expecting for my internship to start over the span of 3 days, only to find out that they can't have me as an intern there anymore. I've never really been, I obviously, making YouTube videos for the past 9.5 years has kind of been a time capsule of my life, throughout high school, college, and of course the start of my post-grad life. All the places I've been and all the things I've done and people I've met. My YouTube channel is kind of time capsuled that, but I've never really been the kind of guy to just treat it as Dear Diary, so I'm not gonna jump too deep into details as to why I can't intern there at this time. But let's just say after trekking all the way out there 1,300 miles over 3 days, for that to happen was honestly, it put me in a really dark place. Like, I'm still processing it. Like, I see a therapist, and I'm told him what happened, and I'm gonna be seeing him again on Thursday. And I just, I obviously, I'm not making this video to be like, oh, what was me, or throw myself a pity party. That's not why I made it. But, like, I planned my entire spring around that internship in Oregon, and it was ripped away from me for bullshit reasons. But you know what? I got some very kind, wise, encouraging words from, like, my friends and family. Like, I was on the phone with my sister, and she was like, hey, don't cry over spilt milk. You guys know that phrase where, like, if you spill a jug of milk, you're just like, you don't be like, oh no, the milk has been spilled and I can't drink it now. It's like, well, no, you take a rag and or a mop or whatever, and you clean up the milk and you get yourself a new jug of milk. And that's what the situation is. So instead of just, like, drudging back to Colorado for 3 days, feeling sorry for myself, I figured I would give myself a little bit of a vacation. So I spent, like, 6 days just enjoying myself in Oregon. Honestly, Oregon, I was born and raised in New Jersey. Oregon is kind of like Colorado meets New Jersey, because Oregon and New Jersey are both coastal states with where you don't pump your own gas. And like Colorado, Oregon has beautiful forests and mountains. And yeah, it's just overall really fun state to visit. I think my favorite spot in Oregon was Newport. That was where the aquarium is at, like the one I filmed those videos at. And it's like, I was just walking on the beach, like, at night under the stars there, and I was like, I made, like, a great, like, trip out of terrible circumstances, because, the best part about hitting rock bottom is that there's only one way to go, and that's up. And I was like, you know what, if this is my rock bottom, being in the Pacific Northwest, out in the stars, like, on the beach, might not be such a bad of a place. Like, I've always wanted to see the Pacific Northwest, and I was like, hey, I'm in Oregon, I'm gonna enjoy myself. I also finished watching Gravity Falls the other night. I was inspired to do so, like, because I was in Oregon. I knew that show took place in Oregon, and I watched it, and yeah, because I have Hulu, and I thought it was great. But yeah, now that I'm back in Colorado, I'm back in Denver, staying at my uncle's place, obviously I really, really want to thank my friends and family, for being so supportive of me. They always have been, ever since the day I was born, but especially been this supportive of me within the past, like, year of, me being done with CSU and, like, leaving Fort Collins for, like, moving and internships with, place to stay in the car, and, like, being in Colorado Springs and going to Nebraska after that, and with everything that's happened recently, I'm so beyond thankful. But, like, at the same time, yeah, I'm really glad that I can stay at my uncle's house, but, like, I can't live in my uncle's house and just, like, DoorDash forever, because I've been DoorDashing since November. It's been really solid. I've made some pretty good dough from it, and it's, it gets me out of the house, and and it gets me familiar with new areas, but it's not a career. Like, I didn't earn a bachelor's degree at CSU to do that for the rest of my life. So this is why I feel like walking away from not just YouTube, but social media in general. Like, not only am I not going to make videos for a while, but, like, I'm not going to, like, post anything on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter either. I'm still going to check all those things. I'm still going to see what other people post and, like, answer any, like, messages that I get. But I just don't feel in the right headspace to be posting anything anytime soon. And, again, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, links in the description, or Twitter, links are in the description down below. If you guys want to message me there, please don't hesitate to do so. Like, I'd love to, say hey to you guys. I mean, one of my subscribers has been doing that quite a bit for the past few months on Instagram, and if you're watching, and if he's watching this video right now, I really appreciate that, and he knows who he is. But yeah, again, this is not the end of my YouTube channel. It's just, I'm putting it on pause. I'm taking a hiatus until, like, I'm gonna buckle down, and I'm gonna, edit my resume, and I really need to find, like, a new internship or a job of some kind. And I just think it's right that, like, I don't make new videos until I get like, the rest of my year straightened out. And ideally, I don't plan on this hiatus. Excuse me. I don't plan on this YouTube hiatus being longer than 2 to 3 months. But if it, like, so today's, I'm filming this on March 21st. if this hiatus goes on longer than like the end of June, my apologies in advance. For all I know, it might not be that long. Maybe it'll be longer than that. Again, if it is, like I said, please forgive me if it is. But like, if it might be short. That it really just depends on when I'm like in a more like comfortable circumstance. Like, I'm gonna find like, you know, a new internship or a new job, and maybe I'll do so in a few weeks or a month from now. So we'll see how well this video ages. Because YouTube for me was never really like about money. I've never made a cent off of making videos. And I've been doing it since my freshman year of high school because I never really like made the views or watch hours for it. I doubt I ever will. If I do, that'd be great. But I never want to make YouTube like a full-time like job. Like, you know, I've always wanted to. You know, I studied English and zoology at CSU to be a zookeeper and you know, write fantasy and, you know, fiction and books and stuff like that. That's a career right there. Again, if I do manage to make enough views off of YouTube someday to get my channel monetized, great. But at the same time, I'm not hell-bent on achieving that either. And the editing software, Adobe Premiere, and I touched base on this like back in July when I was moving out of Fort Collins, made like a whole like channel update, like, you know, summer vlog. I warned you guys there, and I'll warn you guys again here. If you ever plan on using Adobe Premiere, it's a beautiful editing software. I love using it, but it's not cheap. It's like $23 a month, so I'm gonna cancel my membership after I upload this video, after I'm done editing it. And then once I'm, you know, in a more comfortable position to be doing so, like once I get a job or an internship, you know, however long it's gonna take, then I'll, you know, get back making videos on a more regular basis. So yeah, thank you guys so much for understanding, and I really, really appreciate you guys. I know there's not many of you who watch my videos, but the guys who, you know, you guys who do watch my videos and leave likes and comments, it really means the world to me, and I'm really sorry that I had to do this, but like, again, I'm 24 years old, and I really need. I'm not the high schooler that I was when I started making videos anymore. Like, I really need to start like thinking about my future and like my adulthood, and I've just been really worried about those things lately. So yeah, again, this is not goodbye. This is not like the end of my channel. This is just like a see you later, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully it won't go past like 3 months. Again, we'll see like how it might be longer. I hope it's not longer than that, but we'll see if it's shorter than that. We'll have to, yeah, again, we'll see how, like I said, we'll see how this video ages. But yeah, thanks for watching. Again, if you guys, I mean, I would love it if you guys like wanted to message me on Instagram or Twitter. Links in the description down below. And yeah, you guys have a good night. Stay beastly.